Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes. Here with my man, Level Up Sports 10, Mossberg. How you feeling this morning, bro?
Pretty good, man. A little tired from them late games last night, but definitely ready for another banger of a Saturday. Feeling pretty good. How's it going for you this morning? Appreciate you
Oh,
having me as well.
oh yeah, everything is good. I appreciate you being on, bro, man. Listen, I was watching the UNLV game, and they were whipping up on Utah State in the first half. I think it was 41 to like 7 or something like that.
Man,
But the final score ended up being 50 to 34. So
wow.
maybe UNLV took their feet off the gas too soon.
And we
Even
was
though they still won, but still, you don't want to let a team score, you know, 27 unanswered points almost really on you, you know.
yeah, that
So
that says a lot about you as a team as well in that situation, giving up that type of, unanswered points, especially once they get after 14, that's kind of tough and that shows a lot if your offense not moving, you know, hopefully your defense could stand, but that was the case, in different ways it seemed in that game last night. And I caught the Arizona State and Utah. I had Utah winning, but Arizona State definitely put one on last night.
yeah, I think on Thursday when we was talking about that game, everybody was kind of suspect about it because they didn't know what Cam Rising was going to play, not play, what he
Yeah,
was going to be able to do. And he actually played and he threw three interceptions, man. I mean, his stats was horrible,
horrible.
and it almost makes you wonder, like, you know, did you bring this guy back too soon? You didn't give him a real good rhythm game? It's just funny, man. Whenever a quarterback comes back,
Yeah,
if he hasn't been getting a whole lot of reps, he ain't sure because he's been out for a while. He's been out since the second week of the season, right?
yeah. Second week, about, I mean, in 4 weeks he's been out.
Yeah, he's been out for a little while, and it's like, dude, you gotta. I don't know, man. I don't know. For him to be a veteran football player, I wouldn't expect him to come out there and lay a goose egg like that.
Yeah,
And they
definitely.
had a decent running game. I would have thought they would have stuck with that.
Yeah, and it was a big game, and the game, they needed, we talked about as
Yeah,
well, to really stay relevant in that playoff and people waiting for Cam to get back. And it's like, you have that type of game. It's like, now me personally, Utah is out the picture. It's over with for them. They waiting for a miracle now with two losses at this point in the season. I think that's a hole for them definitely to dig out of in that conference as well.
yeah, because they've fallen 2 games behind Iowa State and 2 games behind Colorado.
Yeah,
That's hard to make up, man. And we at the midway point of the season. That's
definitely.
kind of hard to make up. So I don't think Utah is going to make the playoff either. Even though at the beginning of the year that was my preseason favorite to win the Big 12, but it was dependent on Cam Rising staying healthy.
Yeah,
I thought they was the best team in the Big 12 with him being healthy, but we all knew, man, this dude stays injured so
yeah,
much. So we
definitely.
knew it was a possibility that he wasn't going to finish the season or he was going to have some time off during the season because he gets hurt so much.
Correct.
What games are you most looking forward to today? I know it's quite a few really, really good games today. What games are you most looking forward to and why?
We know about the two big games I feel today, which is of course that game in Eugene and that game in Norman. But me, I don't know what it is. I'm looking forward to this Colorado game, this Kansas State Colorado 10:15. My birthday is 10:15. The game time is 10:15. I don't know what it is about them late night games. I sit up for them and I fall asleep. I'm gonna definitely get me a nap today to stay up for this one because I think it's gonna be some fireworks. And I think it's one of those games to where Colorado's been a different team since the Nebraska loss. On both sides of the ball, I've seen their defense look great. I've seen their offense look great in finding different players. You know, Jimmy Horn is a name we hear all the time with Hunter, but we've been hearing Wester along with Shepard making some great grabs. And I think this is a game where they all come together And I think we're about to see an NFL type offense. And how you spoke about that 11. That 11 is a dangerous formation that they come out in. And I think when you're doing that, you're able to mix and match and then bring in some of those formations with the 10 that you did previously in weeks that were successful. And for Kansas State, I think we're trying to figure out how tough this Kansas State team is. You know, we know how tough they are. We know when they play. You know, when they're hosting anyone, we know what they bring to the table. But at this point in a season, to go on the road to Colorado and everything that's riding with this game in itself, I think that's the game that I'm definitely looking forward to today. I think it's I look at it like the Ohio State Oregon. The winner of this game definitely could run the table in the Big 12, but I think it gives them that momentum that you would need at this point in the season to make that push.
That is definitely an interesting game too, man. I was looking at the Ole Miss and
Oh
U
yeah,
and LSU game,
LSU, yeah,
but now that you mentioned that Kansas State and Colorado, because that game really has a lot of Big 12 championship implications in it, man.
you're right.
Neither one of these teams want to drop this game.
No, not at
Neither
all.
one of them. Even though Colorado doesn't have any loss yet in the Big 12, they don't want to drop one and then fall a game behind Iowa State. Because
Right.
I don't think they play Iowa State. So
Nope.
you don't get a chance to make that up in a head to head.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping that, Colorado can pull out this game, because if they do, then that's the second loss for Kansas State
Kansas State,
in
yeah,
the conference.
yeah.
And you know what? We almost forgot about BYU. BYU still is in the thick of things
Still
too.
undefeated. Yeah, yeah.
So it's going to be very, very interesting. That really is a game that has a lot of implications.
And then
But like I was saying earlier, that LSU and Ole Miss game, that one has some Big 12, I mean not Big 12, SEC implications for
yeah,
them, because if either one of them drop this game, they might as well go ahead and cancel Christmas too.
yeah, definitely. And in that Colorado game, I think a lot of people forgetting Shiloh Sanders is back. And the way the secondary has been playing with him out, I think it's like we used to seeing him playing, but when he hasn't played, that gives the opportunity for other players to step up. And they've definitely done that. And it's like when you get him back this time, it's an upgrade. To me, having him back is an upgrade at this point. So, I hope people don't forget that he's out there. He's a ball hawk.
It's definitely an upgrade, man, when you get your safety back who really understands that position.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who will lay the hammer on you too. He's not
Oh,
he's not no tentative dude, man. He
he ain't
gonna
scared to tackle.
yeah, he gonna lay some wood on you. So I'm definitely interested in that game, the LSU game. And I'm interested to see if the Iowa State and West Virginia game,
Yeah.
they going to Morgantown, man, and that's not an easy place to play. I'm telling you, them fans, man. I've watched many of those Texas, West Virginia games that's in West Virginia, and like I said on Thursday, I always wanted to go to that game because it's only 2.5 hours drive from Columbus.
Yeah.
But I always was like, man, I'm not trying to deal with them
Fans.
fans, man.
Wow.
I'm not trying to deal with that. It's only going to be about maybe 1,000 Texas fans in the stands in comparison to their 40,000. I
Yeah.
was like, nah, man, I'm not doing it.
I ain't doing it. Nah, not at all. And I mean, you're right, because I think, with all the other games going on, I think it's going to be a game that is going to live up to its hype. I mean, because, Iowa State going in, they physical, they tough. West Virginia, they tough, they physical. And the loser of this game drops below the other in the conference. So a lot of games today, I think, that gets that separation within the conference. And we've talked about that just these certain weeks to where that separation mounts. And I think this is another week where we start to see a little more separation.
Yeah, what's the name? Iowa State really can't afford to lose this game either. Because West Virginia, I believe, already has a loss in the Big 12. They can't afford to lose this game to West Virginia. They really can't afford to lose it. All right, well, let's jump into this 12-team playoff. And, Boise State is at number 12 right now. And you know what? I didn't know this, but I found this out this week
Okay.
that Boise State or UNLV could actually get one of the top 4 spots. I thought that was reserved for the Power 4 conferences, but it's not. If Boise State or UNLV or somebody in one of the Group of 5 conferences is ranked higher than any of the champions in those divisions in the Power 4, they get a top slot. I didn't know that.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, because you think about it. If Boise State, let's say Boise State wins out, and they end up being ranked higher than one of those, the Big 12 champion, bro.
That's gonna be tough.
That's gonna be nuts.
That blue field, they gonna really pack the house. You talking about? We've never heard of college football in a blue out. I think Boise State would definitely be the first team to do it. And I know we spoke about Jeanty and the Heisman Trophy. If Boise State went out, I think you have no choice but to definitely put him in them 5 seats. He should be in New York. All eyes on him. I just, as we look at Travis Hunter and then we look at Jeanty, yes, they're 2 different type of players, 2 different positions, but Hunter's bringing what we've seen in Deion Sanders, what we've seen in Charles Woodson, what we've seen in so many greats. I mean, you could go across the board at that position on both sides of the ball. And then Jeanty, me personally, I see that's Marshall Faulk. And that's a once-in-a-lifetime type of back that you get, but he brings so much more with it. Marshawn Lynch with the power. And you can't negate him from that seat if that's what Boise State continues to do this season and end up winning out.
Yeah. What's up, Zay? How you feeling, bro?
How's it going, Zay?
Good, man. Good morning to y'all fellas.
Good morning.
Yeah. We were just talking about the possibility of Boise State or UNLV possibly being ranked higher than the Big 12 champion and getting one of them top 4 slots in the 12-team college football playoffs. And it's very, very possible, man.
I was tuned in. I was getting the kids together, man. It's football Saturday, baby. I was you know what I mean? We got to get the kids right first, though. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I knew about that too. I actually came across that last week too, after we did the live show, or after I watched the live show last Thursday. You know, I wasn't a part of that, but I was in the comment section. And yeah, that's tough, man. You know, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they asked Boise State not to wear them blue jerseys on that blue field.
Yeah.
What if they just be like, all right, that was a conference thing, and then they bring that back out? Listen, that could tear somebody up, bro. It's just a headache just looking at the blue jerseys on that blue field, bro. And I can see them doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's college football. Whatever advantage you think you can gain that's legal, you do
gain that advantage. Take the gloves off.
Yeah, we just about to get into the 12 teams that right now, the 12-team playoffs started right now. These are the 12 teams that will be in, and these will be the matchups. So at 12 right now, we got Boise State. At 11, Clemson, a new team that have jumped in there to be up in this 12-team playoff. I believe somebody from the ACC fell out of there, I think.
It was who we had last week.
Let me look at my sheet. I got so many sheets here.
That's what I was about to say. I got like so many of these sheets.
No, I think it was Michigan fell out of there.
Michigan
Yeah,
fell
that's
out
what
of there.
spot they got. Yeah. So at number 11 we got Clemson. At number 10 we got Ole Miss. At number 9 we got Tennessee.
Wow.
At number 8 from number 1 we got Alabama. And again at number 7 we got Georgia. At 6 we got Penn State. At 5 we got Oregon. At 4, and this conference, man, we don't know who's gonna win this one. We got Iowa State. At 3, we got Miami. At 2, we got the Ohio State Buckeyes. And then from number 5 to number 1, we got Texas.
Yeah.
That's going to be that would be a very, very interesting setup, man, if that was to be the final.
Hey, fellas, I was looking at something real interesting yesterday, man. You know, it's the ACC is a log jam. I was looking at SMU's schedule. I think they got Stanford this week. They play Duke. And then after that, they should be favored in every game that they play for the rest of the year. And they are undefeated in the conference. And I'm just looking like Clemson still got to see somebody. Miami still got to see somebody. And the only team that SMU had to play on their schedule that's a ranked opponent, and Duke is a decent team, is Pitt. And I'm just like, boy, hey, they might be able to sneak into that ACC championship game, and they if they can win out, it's possible that they can win it outright though. Like, because I mean, if you look at the schedules, we might be like, okay, Clemson might drop one, Miami, they shaky, they might drop one. You know, you just never know. But I'm telling you, man, that ACC is up for grabs right now. Maybe after the next 2 weeks, we'll get a little more clarification, but that ACC look like it's up for grabs right now.
That's a really good point, Isaiah. I hadn't really thought about that because I stopped following SMU after they lost that, maybe the first or second game of the season, but you're right. They have won all their games in the ACC. And I believe Clemson and Miami play each other.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to help SMU if they can get past Duke and they can win against. Do they play Pitt? Did you say they play Pitt?
SMU play the only tough games that I remember seeing on their schedule is Duke and Pitt. I think they got Pitt at Pitt.
Yeah.
So that's tough. I think Duke is coming to them though. So everybody else, I mean, they got Cal, I think the last game of the year. It's games that they should be favored in. You know what I'm saying? So when you go into a game being favored, you just expect to pull it out. So you just got to show up and ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely a log jam because you got Pitt, you got SMU, you got Clemson, you got Miami.
Yeah.
So, yeah, any of them could actually get up and do. Any of them can actually get up in there and they just got to do what they got to do on that field, man. That's wild. I hadn't even thought about that, Zed. That's a very, very good point. All right, that first round matchup, we got number 12 Boise State at number 5 Oregon, and the winner plays number 4 Iowa State. Man. Who do y'all think wins that game?
That's wild. Hey, that's a revenge game, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Boise State coming back for theirs, you know what I mean?
And if I'm not mistaken, they play,
Yeah, they played. It was 37-34. Oregon snuck out with that win, but yeah, that would be a revenge game in my opinion, man. I think Boise State would get them if they met them again. You know, it's hard to beat somebody twice.
Yes, it is.
And then that first game they did play at Oregon, right?
Yeah. No, where was it at? Was it at Oregon?
I don't know. Like, I just don't see Boise State being a 12 seed, but I
Me
think
either.
them being better. But I think Oregon wins this game. I just think in a playoff situation, Oregon at home, the Ducks is tough to beat. I've been thinking about that score, about the game they have tonight, about taking that back from 14 and bringing that down to 7 because Eugene is just a tough place to play.
Yeah.
And for Boise State playoff, Oregon gets the win. They got the Ducks quacking, they flying, they passing that ball crazy, and they definitely got to put an 8 in the box. They learned that first time. So with this one, I think Oregon learned a lot on that aspect of it as well, and get the win.
Okay, so you got Oregon winning it. You got Oregon winning it as well, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
No. I got Boise State.
You got Boise State.
I think
Oh,
it's a
you think?
revenge game.
Okay.
I think the upset on the revenge tour.
Man,
Yeah.
I guess I'm the tiebreaker. I think at that point, Oregon will be a lot better than they were in that second game in the season, and if they don't have any injuries, I think they'll beat Boise State. I think they'll do a better job stopping Genty in that running game because he hit him for 192 and 3 tutties.
Yeah.
The first meeting, I don't think they're gonna let him get that. I think they're gonna key in on him and keep him from making that happen. So I think I'm gonna take Oregon in that game to advance to play Iowa State. So that I was the tiebreakers there. So Oregon's moving on, buddy.
That's good.
Next up, we got number 11 Clemson at number 6 Penn State, and the winner plays number 3 Miami. What's your thoughts on that one?
Man, Clemson will win that game. I know I picked Penn State to win this big game that they got today, but Coach Franklin always seems to lose big games to me. I don't know what it is. He's bound to drop one. You know what I mean? So this is one that he would drop again. I don't know. I like their team better, Penn State. It seemed like Clemson, Kate Klubnik, I think when teams miss on quarterbacks, which I think Clemson missed on him, it pulls your program back because they got talent everywhere on the field. I just think they missed on their quarterback. And that's the only reason why they're not in the talks of Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. I think Penn State is they're a well-rounded team, but Coach Franklin, he's just gonna miss. He always drop a game or two that he shouldn't drop every year. You know what I mean? So if that was the outcome of the playoff right there, he would drop that game. And that would be a home game too, right?
It'd be a home game for Penn State, yeah.
Yeah. He would drop it. He would drop the game. He's struggling big games for some reason. I don't know if it's X's and O's, game plan, or what. He would drop it. He would drop the game.
Me personally, I'm gonna say not so fast, as Corso would say on Kate Klubnik. He gets the job done in Clemson, and I think that's the reason that they got rid of the other quarterback. But I think Clemson is a scary team. They reminded me of Alabama from last year. They took a loss, and they're winning, and they're back in the playoff. I think they're the most dangerous team out of the 12. I got Clemson and a big win at Penn State, and Franklin's job is on a hot seat.
I think Clemson gonna have too much for that, man. I think that Clay Klubnik, I mean, even though he has his struggles, they have all the other pieces around him. They got a decent enough defense that I think that they'll be able to beat Penn State. For some reason, man, I've never really been impressed with Penn State's. Now, they always have a solid defense. Now, don't get me wrong. But their offense is always like, I don't know, man. It's never really high power like you want a Penn State offense to be.
Right.
They always got a quarterback who is really just like really a game manager. He's not somebody who's really just going to take over a ball game. So I'm taking Clemson as well, man. I think Clemson will upset Penn State in Happy Valley.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Clemson to beat them. We all got Clemson, right?
Yeah.
Clemson.
Yeah. All right, cool. Next up, make sure I got this right. We got number 10 Ole Miss at number 7 Georgia. This will be a rematch from a game during the regular season, and the winner plays number 2 Ohio State.
This is a good one. It's a good one. Georgia been a team we just don't know. Same thing with Ole Miss. At this point in the season, though, when it comes to Georgia being at home in a playoff game, against Ole Miss, who really haven't been in this position. It's been so long since Ole Miss been in a playoff position, been this good on a consistent basis. I think that factors in. I think Georgia turns the script and get a big win at home, starting that playoff, and definitely put Ole Miss back at the drawing board once again.
Man, I think this game Georgia will beat on Ole Miss. I'm not a fan of Ole Miss. I'm really not. I just don't think they play nobody, and once they play a team with comparable talent, they lost. So I'm really not a fan of Ole Miss. I think Georgia will go in there and dog walk them.
I agree. I think that Georgia's just their coaches, their ability to play in playoff games. I think just that experience that they have out there, they'll beat Ole Miss. I really don't think Ole Miss defensively will be able to slow Georgia down, especially running the football or even passing with Carson Beck. I really don't think that Ole Miss will be able to hang with Georgia. And I see Georgia probably beating them by 2 scores, man, in that game. And it will be in Athens, so, home field advantage all day, right?
Advantage, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, we got number, make sure I get this right, number 9 Tennessee at number 8 Alabama, and the winner plays number 1 Texas. What's on that one?
Bama. Yeah, Bama. Until I see this freshman quarterback get some comfortability on the road, I will never trust him. It's just as simple as that.
Bama, you playing that Tuscaloosa playoff game. I think at this point it's like that game against Georgia. I think the coaches is definitely buckling down on that secondary. I don't think there's no way. That's not what they've been working on all week. This is a secondary versus secondary. I definitely have Alabama beating Tennessee, who's really, to me, like one of them Ole Miss teams. They're getting on the map, which is good. They're getting them wins back, but just not being there before, I think, separates some of these teams. And I think this is one of them. Alabama wins this one big.
Yeah, I got Alabama too. I just think Alabama will be way, way too physical for Tennessee. And I really ain't sold on Tennessee. I really don't think Tennessee is even going to make the 12-team college playoffs out of the SEC. I just don't think that they have what it takes on their roster to be able to do that. So I'm taking Alabama as well to win that game.
Hey, before we move forward, I don't think neither one of these teams is making the college football.
Me neither. Me neither.
Before we move forward.
Me neither. I don't think either one of them is going to make the 12-team playoff either. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So now we got Texas at number 1. They get to choose between the Peach Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, or the Rose Bowl. Where do you think they will probably go? Because they get to pick. out of the top 4 teams where they want to choose to play their bowl game?
That's a good question because when you think of history, and we spoke on this a few, I think last week or the prior week about how Texas was with Vince Young and how this team is reminiscent of that. It wouldn't surprise me if they chose the Rose Bowl because of that success and the turnout I think that they brought to the Rose Bowl that year, unprecedented. Texas brought everything with them, the whole house, and they definitely packed that place. So I think they just might pick that place. I think they might
Me, in my opinion, bro, it's certain programs. It really just matter where you just want to go. It don't matter because Texas is going to travel. You know, them fans is going to travel. So anywhere they go, they're going to pack the house. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think it really matter where they go. It's just about a preference of where you want to be at. You know what I'm saying? Which one is closest? Which one is closest to Texas?
The Sugar Bowl is in Louisiana, so that's where I think they would go.
Yeah, that's probably they probably go closest to home. They probably go to the Sugar Bowl just so it's easier for their fans. But it really don't matter where they go. They're gonna pack the house. You see what I'm saying? Like it don't matter. It's Texas we talking about. You know what I mean? It's a blue blood.
Yeah. So Ohio State will get the next bowl pick, and they will be picking between the Peach, the Fiesta, and the Rose Bowl. Because I think Texas is going to pick the Sugar Bowl. It's just right up the street in Louisiana.
Yeah. So they definitely, I say, go with the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, if the Rose Bowl is open, we're going to the Rose Bowl. If not, we're going to the Fiesta Bowl for sure.
Yeah. That would be my pick too as well. And then the third team would be Miami, which will probably pick that Peach Bowl, which is right up the street in Georgia. Yeah. And then Iowa State will get that Fiesta Bowl or Rose Bowl, just depending on what Ohio State picks, which I think Ohio State would pick the Rose Bowl. That's the granddaddy of them all. They got a rich history of playing there. So I'm quite sure that that's where they would want to go. And I'm quite sure their fans would be like, man, listen, we're going to Cali, baby. Let's go. Arizona ain't no pushover, but I'd rather go to Cali.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so first up in the Final Four. I think it's the final. No, it ain't the Final Four. Is it the Final Four?
No, we got one
I
more.
think we got one more.
Yeah. We do got one more.
It's crazy because I'm looking at my
number
paper.
5 Oregon versus number 4 Iowa State. Who do y'all think wins that one?
I'm gonna roll with the Ducks. I watched Iowa State a couple times. Last week it was last week. I think they played Baylor. That game was close. It was close at the end of the fourth quarter. They stretched it out a little bit, and I had them on my spread. And I'm watching. I'm just like, should I cash out? Should I not cash out? I ended up cashing out, but it was just close, bro. Like I don't know. They just pushed it out, but I like their team though. That quarterback, he I wouldn't call him a dual threat, but he's an athlete. He can move the ball around, but the Ducks, in my opinion, I think they getting that Big Ten in them. And when I see Big Ten teams go and play in bowl games, I don't really see them losing to too many people. If you go over the last few years in the history, when the Big Ten plays different conferences, they really don't lose too often. You know what I mean? I think we might have been like 8-3, or no, not 8-3, like 7-3 in bowl games last year, or 6-3 or something. We always win more games than we lose, and it's usually the bottom tier teams. Ohio State dropped to Missouri last year, but I don't know. I like the Ducks.
I'm going with Oregon too. I know how physical Iowa State is. I think in the midst of them being physical at times, I think Oregon blows right by them with their speed. And this is one of them games where I think their speed will definitely show. even with the physical nature and how
Yeah.
tough Iowa State is. And just being in this playoff is not an easy task. When you're in there for the first time, it's definitely a lot of pressure. And that's something that I'm looking at, like I said before, just, it might not be their year to get a win, but get in for sure and put some scare in some teams to let them know we going to be back. That's the Iowa State type of team I'm looking at this year.
I'm taking Oregon as well. I just think they will be more battle tested than that Iowa State. I mean, they would play much better opponents and be battle tested. So I think that they will be prepared for whatever Iowa State will bring to the table, and I see them beating them. And plus, Oregon has some. They have some talent on their team, man.
Yeah.
I don't think they're as talented as like the Buckeyes, but they're talented enough, I think, to beat Iowa State. Anybody, I believe, in the ACC or the Big 12. So I got Oregon winning that game as well. Next up, we got number 11 Clemson versus number 3 Miami, a rematch from the regular season. Who do y'all think wins that one?
I'm all about it's hard to beat a team twice. So whoever will win the game in the regular season, I think the other team will come back and beat them.
This is a game. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, big homie.
No, go ahead.
Let me give a definitive pick. I feel like Clemson will probably win in the first game, and I think Miami will probably come back and beat them. So I think that the seeds could actually be switched too.
It's a good thing you said what you said. The winner, actually, in this game, this is the ACC we talking about. The winner, whoever loses, not getting in the playoff of this game.
Facts.
That's the thing. The regular season going to be out the window when we talking about a rematch possibility. But at this point, I think we talk about battle tested. Clemson have been battle tested. Miami's looked a little shaky. And I think, like I said, Clemson is a dangerous team. I think Clemson know what to do to get after Ward. In this game right now today, if they play, Clemson comes out on top. I got Clemson winning this game over Miami. And Miami is actually a team that I've picked to go to the four in the playoff the past few weeks. But I think just seeing how they've played, as in just the last month overall, it's not looking good for them.
You feel like the ACC are only getting one, huh?
Yeah, I'm a Florida State fan. I know much about this ACC, believe me. ACC is only getting one team in the playoff if they get any. They got a lot of games that's coming up where teams will be battle tested, but a winner will get in. And you're looking at the possibility of this game that's coming up with them two cracking that ACC wide open for Duke, for SMU, Pittsburgh, that type of thing. So you just don't know at the ACC. But I got Clemson winning this game against Miami.
I got Clemson winning it as well because Miami has shown that they don't have no defense. And they've shown that their offensive line really isn't that good.
Yeah.
I mean, Cam Ward sometimes be running for his life, bro. And he making plays with his legs and then hitting guys down the field.
Yeah.
And I think Clemson will take advantage of that, and they will win that game. It'll be a really good game, though, because neither one of them is really all that high power like you was say about the Ohio State or Texas team.
Yeah.
But I think Clemson will win that game as well. Next up, we got number 7 Georgia versus the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. What's your thoughts on that one? That's gonna be a good game.
That'll be a get back game too, man. We remember that from 2 years ago. We have to get our get back, man.
I got I see a different Ohio State team this year. I've been watching a lot, and the reason I was going to go back on my points a little bit, I know I picked them the other day to win by possibly a couple touchdowns, but I'm going to take that back and have it by 1. Just because, like you said, that Will Howard, it's like in this game, you don't have to really worry about Will Howard and his arm. You got two running backs, that's going to definitely do what they do in this game. And I just don't think Georgia has enough defensively with that speed that Ohio State have. In this game, their linebackers actually step up. This is a game their linebackers actually stand tall. And I think it'll be the difference maker in this game against Georgia.
I definitely believe that Ohio State would beat Georgia. After seeing how Georgia played against Alabama, Ohio State, man, listen, they talented from every position, all the way across the board, 2-3 deep. And I think they will wear Georgia out. Georgia does not have the defensive line like they used to have in the past, and they don't have the defensive backs like they used to have in the past, man. They got some talent now, don't get me wrong, but they're not at the level that they would be facing against Ohio State, man. And I got Ohio State beating them and beating them pretty easily, by at least 2 scores for sure. It wouldn't even be. You would look at the score and think that it was a tougher contest, but it really wouldn't be because I think Ohio State would just control the game from start to finish.
Great.
Did you speak on that already, Zay?
Yeah.
Man, I must have been daydreaming.
Hey man, listen, we will roll them dudes. I'm telling you, bro.
I agree.
Honestly, Georgia, they not the team that they've been. Like you said, they looking different on the defensive side of the ball. Especially, I'm surprised that they don't like the defensive ends is not barking like normal, and especially the defensive backs. Normally, they got tall safeties and tall corners. I'm just not seeing any of that from Georgia at all, which is surprising.
Yeah, they usually got thoroughbreds. I don't really see the thoroughbreds on both sides of the ball this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not a believer in Carson Beck. I don't think he's the NFL talent that they saying he is.
Man, they saying he's like going to be the first quarterback pick.
Man, he ain't better than Cam Ward or Shador, in my opinion, bro. He ain't that.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we got number 8 Alabama versus number 1 Texas. What's your thoughts on that one?
Man, Texas. Man, listen, they're too well balanced for Alabama. Like I said on Thursday night, that defense for Alabama is troublesome. Like it's troublesome, man. And Texas got they got Isaiah Bond, they got Wingo. They ain't gonna be able to stop them dudes at all. And when it come to big games like these games we're speaking on right now, it's all about the defense making timely stops. I know they got Jalen Milroe on the other side, but as long as your defense is steady, they keep their feet in the ground, and they fly into that ball, you'll get your timely stops that you need, bro. So I would take Texas.
Yeah. Quinn Ewers is back, everybody. Hope y'all know that. Quinn is back. So y'all better make sure y'all marking your calendar for Texas. So like I said, man, I'm big on Texas. I've been watching them for a long time. And you could probably agree with me. It's the best Texas looked like on all cylinders since that national championship team to have multiple running backs. You got All-Americans hurt, not one, but 2 All-Americans that's been hurt for the whole season.
Facts.
And you still have a running game. That goes to show what's going on in Texas, what's being built, and what's going to be to come. And I think they're a force to be reckoned with, especially when you have 2 quarterbacks in the defense that, not just make stops, they turn the ball over. And that's a big deal. And I think the secondary is the difference maker in this one. I think Texas secondary come out and they show how great they are because people question that. But me personally, they have a great secondary as well.
Yeah, I agree because I don't think Alabama's defense will be able to even slow Texas down for one. And then Texas has enough talent at the linebacker position to spy Milrow
Yeah.
and keep Milrow either in the pocket or keep him from getting, he gonna get some yards now. I mean, he's too
Right.
talented not to get some yards, but not to where he will be able to dominate the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Texas will win that game probably pretty easily, man. I don't think that they will give Texas that big a fight for
Agreed.
sure. All right, so all right,
Oh,
okay. So next up, we got number 11, Clemson. Wow, Clemson came all the way from number 11 to
yeah.
play number 2, Ohio State, in the Final Four. What's your thoughts on that?
I think with this one, I think this is where Clemson loses some steam. You know, this is a rematch. If people remember, this is definitely a rematch from years ago. But I think that's where they lose that steam. You know, they've went against Penn State, they've went against Miami. Ohio State, on the other hand, they've played teams and got momentum. I think that's something at this point we had to look at. Are you gaining momentum with your wins in the playoff, or are you going through a battle test that takes a little bit out of you to where that momentum is, a team might be doing what they do. They might be getting those wins in this playoff, but did that battle test take a lot out of you? Whereas that momentum was a different factor. I think Ohio State definitely comes out with this one and just get after the quarterback. I mean, they're too fast offensively. Clemson don't have enough on the offensive side to even put points up on the board with Ohio State. So Ohio State, with this one, gets the win. Clemson's gas is just too low in the tank after the battle test.
Man, when we get to this part of the year, I don't even think my boys have been sharp. I think by this time of the year, them Buckeyes is gonna be real sharp, bro. It's just no way around it. Like we haven't been playing our best ball. I say if I had to put a percentage on it, I'll say we're at 50% capacity right now, and we still doing what we supposed to be doing out here in these football games. So by that time of the year, only the top of the line can come touch us, and it's really only one team, and I feel like that's Texas. So yeah, landslide.
Hold on, you said y'all at 50%?
Yeah,
You're a Buckeye fan. You said 50% y'all playing the Ducks today. Do I got to take my pick back? City League, I hope you're watching this and hearing what he's saying, because he said 50%. You make me want to take my pick back.
Hear me out. Them Ducks is pretenders, bro. They not what you think they are, bro. We going duck hunting still. But they are not what you think or who you think they are. They
just take me back to the Nintendo today. That's all I ask for your Buckeyes, man. That's it. The loser of this game drops.
Man, we ain't worried about losing, bro. We ain't worried about losing.
Like I said earlier, man, Ohio State. This is what's so brilliant about teams like Ohio State, Texas. When you got numbers, when you got guys and you got talent, you can play guys that's in your second and third string hella minutes.
Yeah.
So when you get to this point in the season, you got guys that can go out there and play, man, and you ain't got to worry about this guy having to go out the game and get some rest, because you know you got another dude coming in that's just as talented, that's just as good, and can get the job done. And when you're able to do that, man, your team is legit. You ain't got to worry about nobody being tired in the fourth quarter. They're able to close out games. And I think that's what Ohio State has been able to do this year for certain, is they've been able to play a ton of players, man, getting all of their talent, a lot of playing time. And Clemson will not be ready for the fact that Ohio State got fresh dudes wearing you down all throughout this game. And that's what's going to be the difference. They're going to wear Clemson out, man, and they're not going to be able to play in that fourth quarter to the degree Ohio State will be able to. and Ohio State will go ahead and run them one on out the stadium and win that game over Clemson. But y'all know, so I didn't know this. I didn't know that where the Cowboys play is that Arlington.
Yep.
Yeah.
They get one of the Final Four games.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. That's if Texas advances, that's like a home game for them, bro.
It's a home. Like that's
Like,
the thing. It's
That's-
like if
That's the semifinal
position-
game.
That's
yeah,
the
the
semifinal
position for
game.
Texas, yeah, the positioning for
But-
Texas is big because I think if they get that top 4 seed, Texas pretty much have that advantage. Like they're in a position to have home field advantage all the way throughout. And that's what I had looked at. And I said, that's another thing I don't think people looked at. It's like the NCAA tournament, just on how they base the locations. And if you one of them teams to actually fare out and do great, it's going to be an advantage on your side. And I think Texas is one of those teams that have the big advantage in placement.
See, y'all are big on that. I am not so much the one that's big on that because they distribute tickets to the schools. And when we talk about the teams that we talking about, your fans is showing up, bro. So I don't think it's net. I mean, the only thing that you're gonna get out of it is less travel time, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I'm not really big on the game is closer because I think it's gonna be equal amount of fans. You know what I mean? So I'm just not one of them people that always believed in that.
Well, you gonna see today about that home field advantage. You gonna see today.
Hey, that's a difference though. We actually going to their crib, like we
Yeah.
ain't going, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a difference, especially at this point in the season. Trust me, it's a difference.
Yeah, for sure. But I definitely I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, man. All right, so next up we got number 5 Oregon versus number 1 Texas. What's your thoughts on that one?
They gonna roll them boys. Texas will roll them boys just like we would. It's my opinion.
I think I know what I'm looking at. Texas looking for this matchup for the following week. This probably will be the biggest game. I would say this would be probably the biggest game in history if we get this 1-2 matchup that everybody's looking at. I'm sure we will be looking at.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Texas will have too much for Oregon. It'll be good to see the two Muhammad quarterbacks playing against each other, though. I mean, even though they're on opposite sides of the ball, Malik Muhammad for Texas playing cornerback, and his cousin plays cornerback for Oregon. So, you know, he actually should have came to Texas when he was out there in the transfer portal. He should have transferred to Texas and played with his cousin. But that money that Oregon threw out, it was like, look, cuz, listen, I got to go get this bread, man. They giving me a little bit more than Texas, so I go get this bread real quick.
Wow.
I think Texas will be too much for Oregon. And they're going to want some revenge against Dylan Gabriel for how he beat them last year in that Oklahoma.
Definitely.
Man, next up we got, and this has actually been the championship game every week that we've done this 12-team playoff hypothetical. This has been a championship game.
That's crazy.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Number 2 Ohio State versus number 1 Texas. What's your thoughts on this?
To me, these are the clear-cut 2 best teams in college football. I mean, it's like it's going to be a heavyweight fight, you know. Who can make less mistakes?
Yeah.
Which defense is being the stingiest? This is a prize fight, man. It could be high scoring too because in them big games, people show up and they play their tails off. But I think it could be a high scoring game just because of the simple emotion in the game. You know, I'm talking about 35-38, something crazy like that. Not to say that these defenses aren't great because these defenses are both elite. So, yeah, I mean, it's a toss-up to me, but I'm going to roll with my Buckeyes because I'm a Buckeye. Period. You know,
Oh yeah, for sure.
that's
For
a little
sure.
bias in this, the biasness. But you know what I mean. If I wasn't a Buckeye, I might have to think twice. But I'm gonna roll with my Buckeyes, man.
Oh,
I
for
got
sure, for sure.
it don't stop. It don't change with me. Sorry, City League TV. I'm going with Texas, and it's a reason why. When you ask me, um, like you said, you got elite offense, you got elite defense, but the holes that I see is holes that Texas fill fully, and that's that linebacker hole. Texas linebackers is different, and I think one of the differences in this game would definitely be the linebacker position. And the thing I noticed is Texas linebackers could cover, they fast to the ball, and they hit you in the mouth. And if they hit you in the mouth, you might give up that football. And I think that with just that difference and that being a big part of the game at this point, because you have to slow things and see things in a different way in this game. Texas wins. And I'm sorry, Ohio State. They don't get y'all by one touchdown. They get y'all by a touchdown in the field goal. Texas by 10 in this one. I just like what Texas brings to the table. And you asking quarterbacks to battle, I'm taking Quinn over Howard all day long.
Yeah, I think the only advantage that Texas has in this game, and it's the most important one, is the quarterback position. We've seen Will Howard for 4 years, man. We
Yeah.
know what he can do. We know what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are. And I think that would probably be the advantage for Texas, the fact that they've played him so much that they know what he can do and what he can't do. And they'll probably scheme on that. And they got enough talent all across the field. Really, both teams got so much talent, man, that I think this game would be. I think it could be low scoring actually.
Yeah.
Both teams in the lower 20s, because they ain't gonna make a whole lot of mistakes. They're not gonna gamble a whole lot because everything is on the line in this game. So you just gonna play straight up. But I think that just because Texas had that advantage of knowing that they've known Will Howard for 4 years, his ins and out, I think Texas could squeak out a little victory by between 1 to 3 points, I believe.
Yeah.
Hey, so I like both of the points y'all made. To the linebackers, that's a good point. Though if it's one weak spot on my team, I'm gonna say it's the linebackers. And it's not because the talent isn't there, it's because I don't think the coaching staff is playing the right guys. Arvell Reese has definitely, without a doubt, been my best linebacker all year. I've been saying it since like week 3, and they just only giving him 15, 20 snaps here and there. But I came across a stat yesterday. This guy is number 1 in the Big Ten at tackle per yards tackle. Like, so when he make a tackle, he's only giving up 1 yard. He's number 1 in the Big Ten, and I know we bringing guys along, but that's a good point though. Them linebackers for Texas is serious for sure.
You know, we have been talking about that too on all the broadcasts. Whenever we talk about Ohio State as being the linebackers, man. Now they played pretty good last week
Yeah.
against Iowa, but previous weeks they haven't played so well. And whenever you play a team like a Texas, your linebackers really have to play really, really well because Steve Sarkisian is such a good offensive play caller, man, and he's going to exploit whatever weakness you might have. Yeah. And if you don't have any weaknesses and you can throw a 3-high safety look at him, you can probably get it. Yeah. But, man, I'm glad y'all came on this morning. College game day is about to come on, and we always try to catch that right at the beginning.
For sure. Yes.
I appreciate y'all coming on, man. Another great broadcast. So hopefully I see y'all soon. I mean, if y'all decide y'all want to jump on later on today, hit me up, man. I'll create a live stream and we can jump on and talk about whatever. I mean, it's probably going to be late at night after that Ohio State and Oregon game.
Yeah. We might be able to do one like we did after that Alabama game. Might be able to do one of them a little quick, something before that 10-15 Colorado game come on.
Cool. Let me know what y'all want to do.
All right,
Yeah, Emergency Street, right? Yeah.
got you.
All right,
All
I
right,
appreciate
fellas,
y'all, bro.
man.
Yes,
Y'all
sir.
enjoy
Have a
y'all
good one.
Saturday, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all too.
Yeah.
Peace.